the new pope. And yeah, pop that into production if you can. There we go.
Pope smoke.
So Pope smoke. And so what happened?
Boom.
Yes, boom. So what happened is we saw the green smoke, and then we knew that there was a new pope, and we were hoping that the pope, who's an American pope, we were hoping that he's going to be cannabis friendly, especially because he's an American pope. He's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago. I mean, Chicago's cannabis friendly, right?
Right.
And I mean, let's go green pope. Let's go green pope.
Look, judging by the smoke, we can see the conclave is into the cannabinoids.
That
Right.
is enthusiastically smoking.
Right. So they're not burning the ballots. They're literally they're doing bong hits and then blowing it up the chimney.
Man, it's a tenuous
because we all
thing.
know weed smoke is green.
All right. So so control room, real quick, on the big screen. Why don't you show we have a picture of the new pope, guys. He's American pope.
Let's see this guy.
There he is.
Oh yeah, I want you.
Pope Leo, baby.
Is it me or all the popes look alike?
They kind of all look alike.
Is that his name? Pope Leo? He's Pope Leo?
Yeah, he's Pope Leo.
Pope Leo.
The 14th.
The 14th of his name.
Yeah, so there were 13 Pope Leos before him.
Well, that's getting kind of old, don't you think? I don't know.
How far back does this pope thing go?
Oh, shit. Fuck.
Apparently 14, at least 14 times.
It goes back a long time, man. Now, that's just with one person.
That's just Leo.
That's just him.
14 Leos.
That's just him.
Well, he's aggressive. I don't like how he's pointing at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's doing an Uncle Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing Uncle Sam, and I feel like I'm getting drafted right now into the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Freedom of religion. I have problems with this, man.
That's funny as hell. That's funny as hell. All right, we'll put Johnny B back on here. And the reason we're talking about the Pope is because we thought tonight we would be on Pope watch, like Pope alert, like trying to figure out, are we going to get a new Pope? We saw the green smoke. We know there's a new Pope. And now we got the Pope. So tonight we're going to refocus our efforts to talk about the church a little bit.
Yeah.
And whether the church is receptive to cannabis. And I can tell you, here's a shocker to everybody. They are not. They are not. They are not. But what we're going to do is we're going to give them a chance. Okay. And
I didn't know about this.
we have
Wow,
to
on the
listen.
spot.
Listen, there's a new Pope. He's American. If there's ever a chance, for the Catholic Church to accept weed, I think, Johnny, now's the time.
Leo from Chicago says you should smoke too. Hey.
So what we're
I think it's great.
Yeah, so I think it's great too. So we're hoping that so Todd's going to give us a little bit of a summary, so to speak, on basically what is the current stance of the Catholic Church on cannabis. And I know it's not good, but you want to tell us about it?
Break it down.
Or should I ask Mary Jane?
Well, we'll let Mary Jane elaborate on, but in general, the church discourages the use of drugs. But right there, that's something debatable, right?
It's becoming debatable. It is becoming debatable.
Yeah, I don't look at it as a drug.
Right.
So, Mary Jane, could you, for our audience and the people at this table, could you explain to us the stance of cannabis with the Roman Catholic Church? Could you do that for us?
Absolutely. The Roman Catholic Church traditionally views substance use, including cannabis, through a moral lens that emphasizes sobriety, moderation, and the avoidance of harm. Officially, the Church hasn't endorsed recreational cannabis use, focusing instead on the principles of maintaining a clear mind and healthy body. However, the Church does support medical uses of cannabis if it genuinely helps alleviate suffering and is used responsibly. The stance is nuanced, often encouraging compassion and careful consideration of societal impacts rather than outright condemnation or approval. In short, while the Church remains cautious about recreational use, it acknowledges the potential medical benefits and emphasizes responsible ethical use.
Okay.
So I think that's the most moderate description of the Roman Catholic Church that I've ever heard, because basically they're I think what Mary Jane was saying is that they're a bit more
Lenient, it sounds a little bit.
I think
Before it would be a rigid thing, you would think, hey,
yeah.
no.
So let's take it a step further, guys. Let's take it a step further. We've got a video that we're going to play, and you can play the video on full screen, and then put us up in. You can put us up in a smaller screen, but basically, what we're looking at, and control room, I'll give you some timestamps to work off of it. But this is a channel called Godsplaining. And there are two fathers on here that have decided to take on the topic of cannabis. Mm-hmm. And so I thought this was a good representation of what maybe the Catholic Church feels about weed.
Like a
like a guideline. So we can play this. I think what we should do is we'll go ahead and we'll just start it off, and we'll get an idea of what it looks like. And then I'll move you forward to some timestamps, and we'll get into, how these guys think about cannabis. So go ahead and roll it.
This is Father Gregory Pine.
And this is Father Patrick Briscoe.
And welcome to Godsplaining. Thanks to all those who support us. If you enjoy the show, please consider making a monthly donation on Patreon. Be sure to like and subscribe to Godsplaining wherever you listen to your podcasts. Father Patrick, we're going to do something which we don't ordinarily do in Godsplaining episodes. We're going to break the fourth wall. And I'm going to turn to our executive producer, Father Joseph Anthony Kress, and ask, when does this particular episode air? And then we're going to wait on Father Joseph Anthony Kress, who will then tell us that this episode airs
Control room, go ahead and advance
August
this
10th.
to
And then we're going to tell our
1401.
yeah. Sorry, guys.
1401. So
Don't care,
yeah, we don't give a shit
Don't
about
care.
any of that. So we'll go to 1401.
but God bless.
And in this section, these guys talk about alcohol versus marijuana. And I think it's kind of interesting. Even in Mary Jane's explanation, she talks about the leniency and how they're accepting to that. But in reality, when you listen to these guys,
Right.
they're far from accepting. But what they do is they go out of their way to talk about the benefits and how great alcohol is. So,
What?
and we want to kind of
Get outta
point.
here.
Yeah, we want to point this out. So,
Oh yeah, bring it on.
so go ahead, and if you can play it from that point, let's take a look at that.
Get out of here.
of alcohol isn't to get blitzed, but the point of marijuana is to get stoned. So there's a kind of different logic with which you consume. And I think that there are telltale signs of that logic that are just kind of built into the substances themselves. So people often say they're both natural. But in the case of alcohol, we're talking about something that is not only natural, but it's comestible, it's nutritive. So like it's something that builds us up. It has calories, but also it has health benefits if you use it well.
Pause. Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
Okay.
I need a minute here.
Who is this fucking asshole?
Wait a minute.
So,
Well, first of all, hold on. Let's back way up to when they started and said,
yeah,
breaking through the fourth wall. What the hell is going on?
I don't
out
know
here?
what the fourth wall is.
Dude, it's a podcast. That's all you do is break the fourth wall. You're talking to the camera. What else are you doing but breaking the fourth wall?
Right. So right now, so what we just heard, guys, is they're talking about the
nutritional value of alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts.
People often think alcohol, cirrhosis of the liver. That's only if you drink quite a bit for a long time. Now, if you are impaired in your judgment from over-imbibing and then you get in a car accident, obviously that has negative health effects, but we're not talking about the same type of effect, like the thing itself is causing this particular effect.
Yeah.
So
to that point, I just want to give the example of the guy that did the monastic Lenten beer fast that lost like 30 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
After following the monastic ration of beer,
okay.
Which is of course a very particular kind of Belgian beer, right? That is exactly as you're suggesting, nutritive and sufficed. So on the monastic fast, you abstain from food and go on a liquid diet on beer, basically. Anyway,
beer?
so it can be a healthy thing when done in moderation.
Yeah. And I think I've forgotten who, but it was
Just nuts.
An abbot of a monastery in
Pause.
North.
Can we just break this down for a minute?
Go ahead. Let's everybody jump in.
These two guys are both predators.
We got one guy.
to take them, yeah.
The one guy looked happy as hell, soft, looked very light on his feet. Yeah. And then you got the other guy sweating his ass off like he just did an 8-ball or something.
Safe to say no one's getting laid on that podcast.
Ain't
right?
nobody getting laid up.
The devil's fire is near, brothers. The devil's fire is near.
Whoa.
Yeah, be careful of your kids around them.
Right?
Right.
Well, I mean, a few Belgians in, maybe their discretion's a little down.
All right. Yeah, let's go. There's more, guys. There's more.
That's silly. It's silly.
All right, let's keep it going.
Western Europe during the late 19th, early 20th century, who had like a particularly weak stomach and I think was on that fast for any number of years. So a great spiritual author, maybe Blessed Columba Marmion, he looks at the man at the controls who nods. So some of these great spiritual works were produced under the, well, not the influence in the negative sense, but were fueled by beer and beer alone. I mean, in the grace of God. But okay.
The grace of God.
Other things that I would...
That's the quiet part out loud. You don't say that part. Like, don't tell everybody they were drunk when they wrote it. Like, come on, man.
Shut the fuck up.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's do this, control room. I'm not done with this yet. Why don't we go to 2101 and then let it play through to 2330 because they talk about alcohol and courage and the goods of alcohol. You guys got to hear this shit. Go ahead. It's a red flag.
It's not going up. And when you have something like decriminalization, which is, as I already alluded to, basically a nonsensical distinction from legalization. When you have something like decriminalization, you begin the erosion for the societal standard. I mean, we've seen this in marriage. Name any issue, right? You've already referenced abortion. But when we begin to give up, when we begin to look away from the goal, or from what the proper desired goods are for a society, you only see erosion. You only see a decrease. Yeah, in social mores. So for me, I have a lot of objections to even decriminalization because I think it initiates a slippery slope that's going to continue to eat away at general social expectations.
Pause.
Yeah, what you said there, it has me think.
What is he even talking about?
He's trying to explain why he's not for any type of deregulation or decriminalization. Right. And I don't know where the spot is, but this is the same guy who goes, alcohol has a very important part in the Catholic faith. And it's, listen, go to 2330 and play it from 2330. Some of this shit's nuts. Play it
there. Day. So I think that release of tension is at play, which is one of the things that people desire.
Yeah. Apropos of those two comments, but then kind of pursuing it further, I also think of alcohol consumption, or I associate alcohol consumption with a kind of courage. You think about the man at the party who is inhibited from asking the woman whom he is interested in to go on a date because he's all bound up in himself. But after a drink or two, he finds in himself the courage.
Pause.
Pause. What do you have to say about this, Val?
If a man approached me drunk to talk to me, no. What are you saying? What are you doing?
Listen.
Like, sir,
Strike.
go home.
So he's
find a job, find a career, something.
right.
Oh,
Get that right. So they're trying to justify the fact that you might be uptight a little bit, you lack courage. But let me say, suggesting to drink poison doesn't seem to be very.
Just even suggesting like, hey, it's okay to get messed up to overcome your inhibitions, but not that way. Like you just said, you're getting. I don't know if I can effed up. I don't know if you can curse.
You can curse.
It's okay.
If you get fucked up, then yeah, you could do whatever you want. But don't do drugs, though. Like what do you mean?
It's okay to get drunk and hit on women. That's fine.
What? Get out of here.
That's what they're saying.
It's nuts.
Pretty much, yeah. Like it's just like he's just basically saying if you don't have a personality, just give yourself a personality and then just walk up to this girl with this fake personality. And then
That's
when
why I
you're sober,
say
you're like,
don't
"How
work
are
on
you?"
yourself.
That's this is why I
Don't
said
build yourself.
This is why I said nobody on this podcast is getting laid because they're not doing the right things.
No, not at
silly.
all. No.
Well, they're also probably monks, so that might inhibit it.
They
too.
look like monks.
And the one guy, you see how he's kept looking up in the air when he's talking?
Oh yeah, the tell.
I mean, where they got like a dick hanging from his head?
No, that's the tell. That's a lie.
All right, so let's do this. One more. We'll put one more clip up. Go to 2641, and we'll listen to this for one more second.
Deal, and to say that this is the goal, and to not back down from that, and to find new and clear ways to articulate it.
Yeah. I have one kind of like wrap-up thought on that point, and then we can transition to a final segment. The wrap-up thought is that I think in order to grasp this argument, you need to have a little bit of purchase on history and tradition.
Right.
I live with the man, the last place where I was assigned, who is French, and who made the argument that the vines were planted in southern France in anticipation of the Lord's coming, so that he could make best use of them for the institution of the sacrament of his blood. But there's, while he was being a little bit self-consciously precious, I think that there's a sense to it. Like, as Christians, we look to the history of the church, of the church's life, as providential, and that there's, like, God takes to hand the things that he intends to use for a plan of redemption.
All right, we're done with
And I think we
this.
can say that about one.
All right, so the point is they're hypocrites, and they prefer to drink poison over medicine.
It's mental gymnastics.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
didn't make a strong point here.
They didn't make a strong point. So I listen, at the end of the day, I hope the new pope does great, right? We always hope the well for everybody, but I don't think there's any chance that they're going to support weed in the Roman Catholic Church.
Well, guess what?
What?
They're not going to stop us. Shit. I don't care what their view is.
Right on, my man.
You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you.
All right.
I feel you.